Read. Write. Read some more. Explore the universe through your writing. Practice and learn what moves you and what doesn't. Dorinda Jones.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses. We did initially talk about making this episode just about plotting when you're a pantser, but in reality, the lesson to learn here is much broader than that.
We want you to learn how to go outside your comfort zone. That is one of the best ways to level up your writing, is doing something you're unfamiliar with.
And this applies to pretty much any art. All of these extra skills that are peripheral to your main craft will help enhance your craft itself.
Let's dig into what this actually means for your writing. For pantsers or plantsers, this going outside your comfort zone is going to be outlining. It is going to be a little bit of plot work to help you have a fully developed story.
For you plotters out there, a lot of this comes down to flying free, letting inspiration guide you, even if it's against the grain of what you had already planned.
Allowing yourself to use some form of structure or to have that freedom of choice when you encounter something that may be against what your structure is will help you avoid writer's block. If you are a plotter constantly trying to shove your story into the box of your outlined plot, you are going to handicap yourself. You are going to cripple the story because you want it to be one way when it's trying to be a different way.
If you ever encounter those authors that their stories all feel the same, it's all very formulaic, there's a good chance that they haven't gone outside of their comfort zone in a long time.
Another way that you can go outside your comfort zone is to start using new characters and new concepts in your story, especially new character concepts.
One of my favorite things to do when I should be writing but I'm not is to look at the D&D forums and see what people are coming up with interesting character concepts for the D&D characters. Yes, this can be placed specifically in the swords and sorcery fantasy world that is Dungeons and Dragons, but it's also very interesting to have this unique perspective on how the world works.
So I am writing a character for a game right now where the main character is blind. And it is really interesting trying to describe the world through the other senses, through taste and touch, and not necessarily based on sight.
Also, having different ideals about the world is another way. They don't necessarily have to be the main character, but having people who think differently than you is an interesting exercise as an author in going outside your comfort zone.
Another thing that you can do exploring concepts and characters is to make the setting or an inanimate object a character as well. Give these non-person, non-human characters a personality that you can act on, that you can write about.
If the mists come in and it changes everyone's superpowers, this is an interesting character that can stretch your writing because you have to think of what remains the same, what changes, and how the characters influence the environment as well as the environment influencing the characters.
This kind of work regarding your characters, regarding your story concepts, will help the story feel deeper because you are exploring more than just the shallow basics of what you're used to doing. If you are used to only writing somebody who is fully capable physically, try writing a disabled person. Same thing with mental health. Try all these things because it expands your creative ability to give your characters challenges and then overcome, despite these challenges, the plot of the story.
Each of these changes makes the world feel bigger and your particular story feel deeper. It's not a world where everyone is beautiful and everyone looks exactly the same and everyone's perfectly capable. Everyone has their own individual challenges that they're facing on top of the big bad that they need to conquer. Another way to stretch yourself is to maybe swap genres.
If you always write fantasy, try writing action. If you always write romance, try writing horror.
These things can be very opposite of how you want to be seen as an author, but you can actually integrate these pieces of what you're doing in these writing exercises that makes your fantasy story that much more interesting.
There are different elements and techniques and tropes in every single genre that really can be used in more genres. And once you get familiar with those, you can start bringing them back to your true passion. I have written fantasy for the longest time, but the only books I've published are murder mystery because I decided one day that I was going to write something that I didn't care about because I could do it better than somebody else that I saw, and actually finished a book because I went outside my comfort zone to try a different genre that I didn't care about. So it worked. And the biggest part about going outside your comfort zone is challenging yourself. Giving yourself something to work towards, to build upon and improve. If all you ever do is stay wrapped up nice and cozy on your couch and do nothing, you're safe, sure, but you're not experiencing anything. You're not living. And it's the same thing with writing. If you only ever write your comfort characters, you're not making yourself stretch.
And this isn't necessarily a genre thing, but at least with my own writing, every project I take on, even if I don't finish it, I change something up about my writing style. I try to write a character who has amnesia. Didn't work, but it was an interesting experience. I tried to write a character who was comedic, and it did work. So I now know this is something that I can use in more of my stuff that I never had the confidence to use before. Having these little things that you can focus on and little challenges for yourself help keep you motivated, and it helps prevent your writing from becoming stale.
Because honestly, who you are as a writer should never be set in stone. The more you do the same you've always done, the more all your stuff will be the same. When you go outside your comfort zone, it allows you to discover what's changed. It allows you to discover what you are actually capable of.
And more than that, it gives you a path of what can change next. You, as an author that is constantly growing and improving yourself, should be constantly looking forward to the next step in the process. How am I going to get better next so I can work toward that?
You can't follow anyone's footsteps in this. Just because writing murder mystery helped me to actually complete a novel doesn't mean that's going to do the same for you. So you have to discover what you need to challenge yourself with. You need to discover how you can make yourself stretch to improve your own writing. Only you know what parts you need to work on.
And it's actually freeing because you're going to discover more about what you can actually accomplish. So I recently wrote a short story that was a Western. And I didn't think I could do a Western because I've never really consumed Westerns, but I'm like, hey, sure, I'll try it, why not? And stretching myself, having the courage to go outside of my comfort zone has unlocked a door for me. Maybe if I start watching Yellowstone or read some Western novels, I might actually be able to write a Western novel. I now have the courage to do that because I had the courage to step outside of my comfort zone.
And for me, I had to stretch myself and actually start plotting. If I didn't plot, I wasn't going to finish a book. So sitting down and plotting a whole book helped me realize that I can use the two together. I can pants, and then I can plot, and then I can pants all the details. It makes every single one of your stories, whether it's a short story, whether it is a full-blown novel or a novella, it helps them all stand out in your mind. And it will do the same for everyone else because you are giving yourself an opportunity to be different every single time. So we have a little bit of homework for you to take this idea and actually apply it to your writing. And it starts with dabbling with new ideas.
That dabbling with new ideas is really great for stretching your imagination, and especially in those short stories. They're good opportunities to take learning something new, which we've talked about in prior episodes, and apply it to your stories. Another bit of homework we have for you is to write a short story based on a genre or concept that absolutely drives you batty.
Whether that is romance or dream sequences or dark romances, take all of the cliches and all of the tropes that you find most annoying and throw them in. Make it as bad and as terrible as you possibly can. Because like I said earlier, there's a freedom in not caring that allows you to explore, to have fun, and really stretch to accomplish something that you probably never would have done.
It's also very cleansing. We've mentioned before, some of the greatest sources of inspiration for both of us is spite. So when you really hate something, making fun of it is a blast. I definitely encourage you to try that.
But the most important thing is to not let yourself get sedentary in your writing journey. Make sure that you're always pushing yourself. Make sure that you are always providing yourself with a challenge. Learning about your tendencies and dwelling on them is the first step. And then you take those tendencies, those habits that you have, and stretch and go outside of that. That's how you level up your writing.
I guarantee you'll feel more and more satisfied with yourself as an author and with your writing journey if you continue to stretch yourself. But you only get that satisfaction with who you are as an author if you
write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.